So today's video is actually going to be a subscriber request. I've been asked, hey, if I have any units or any teams that could help take care of these like minor few characters that we see in the arena, because if you go in the arena and you start reaching gold or plat or even higher than that, you're definitely going to see the same 10 characters over and over and over. And I'm actually going to wait until the end of the season and I'll tell you exactly how common these characters are. So he's asked specifically how to counter Lakshmi and POPO because he has trouble with those units. And ironically enough, my most recent arena refresh has netted us 5 Lakshmi teams that we are about to fight in arena. So one at a time, I'm going to go through the list. I'm going to show you the unit that I actually built and the team that I'm using to counter Lakshmi teams. And I'll tell you how it works so that if you want to climb arena, instead of having to meta battle with these people to climb and get those rewards, we can actually form a counter team to counter, because you'll basically be seeing these same units every other match or so. So basically, let me go ahead and explain how it's going to work. Firstly, let's take note, I am only in gold 2. I'm not in platinum, but this is about the range most players are at. If you aren't spending gems on arena tickets, which I am absolutely not, then this is about where you will be. I only have about a 70% win rate. My defense was at a mad high win rate in silver, but once you reach gold, people actually start knowing what they're doing. Whenever they see you on their list, they're definitely going to be able to win. So looking across my list right now, I'm seeing 5 Lakshmis. So what do we know about Lakshmi? Well, before I even get into the first match, I'm going to go ahead and assume that at least 4 of these units are grouped up. And just like that, 4 of them are lined up, and then he has Trevor in the front. So how this is going to work, he's basically trying to use POPO in the middle to put a damage ignore effect on everyone around POPO, and then Lakshmi to put the damage share across the entire team so that the entire team will be either ignoring damage or sharing the damage, so you cannot just nuke down one character. So basically, this is how I'm expecting all of these matches to go. Since they are mostly focused on defensive buffs and then having their nukers take out your units one at a time, what we're going to be doing is actually taking first turn and speed buffing to ensure that we can control the battlefield. So we will use Josephine to put a speed buff on our entire team so we can take more turns, as well as put a shield on us in case someone gets targeted by all 3 of them. It will be a little bit more difficult for them to kill that unit. And then after defense breaking with Nadine, we will attack buff with Bannon. We will then chain into Ziv. Ziv will use his 3rd skill. Since they are all grouped up, this will pull them into a tight-knit group using his 3rd skill. And it will also have a chance to confuse the enemies and make them attack each other instead of our own team. On top of that, since they all have damage share, they will all be pretty much taking full damage anyways. So we will also be doing that with Amy, because Amy will come in last, and anyone who is not confused, hopefully we can either get a nuke 3rd skill off, or we could just stun somebody in the process and give us a very good head start to the point where they are not able to recover at that point. Because our setup is more based on the offensive, while their setup is more based on the defensive. So if we could get our setup off first, we should be able to take advantage of our offense faster than they can take advantage of their defense. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So immediately, just as predicted, pretty much my entire team is queued to move before them because I am highly focused on speed. So we will actually be putting the speed buff on everyone on our team to, well, we only got speed buff on 2 of them, but since our speed is so high initially anyways, we should still be able to get off our combos before everyone dies. So now attack buff will hit everybody, no accuracy required. Since they have not put on damage share yet, we're going to push Trevor a little far back so that Ziv, his 3rd skill here, you can see now that Trevor is pushed farther back, everyone is in the range to make this skill take effect. So it's going to pull everyone in the middle. I was even able to confuse Trevor. So now Trevor will be attacking their own teammates. So whenever Lakshmi puts damage share on everybody or POPO puts damage ignore, Trevor is not going to be coming after us. He's going to be going after their own team. On top of that, let's see if we could get a stun. So no stun, but the Trevor was actually so squishy we were able to get off all the damage we needed anyways. Now that we've used our full combo and we have speed buffs, the enemy team is pretty much unable to recover at this point. We can take off damage ignore very easily with Josephine, and with Nadine, Josephine has a multi-hit ability that will take off damage ignore in the range, and Nadine has an AoE as well. So before Lakshmi even gets a chance to use her damage share, we are entirely able to completely nuke this team. All right, and we are officially 1 for 5. Now moving on to the next team. Again, since they are using Lakshmi and POPO, I will be assuming they are grouped up, and they are. So we can pretty much essentially chain this combo on almost every single team in Arena. The only part where you start running into real trouble is where people have like plus 15 legendary runes on all their units. Then you definitely need to make sure that your Josephine speed buff has a little bit more accuracy. Mine is not 100% accurate, as we saw last match. Now this is where it gets interesting. If you see, the turn order is completely different than last game. Counterattack is probably going to move before he uses his second skill, so how are we going to counter this? Well, first, let's see if we could put the shield and the speed buff on everybody. There we go. Now we will be able to take more turns overall, so as long as we can just eat this one little combo right here, then we're going to be fine. The speed buff also supplied us with a shield, so Tal's second skill wasn't really able to do too much damage. Unfortunately, we did get immobile on all of our units, but it's going to be fine because since damage share is now officially up, we can chain everybody into Counterattack. Counterattack is in the middle. Let's go ahead and push everyone in the middle, and this time I'm actually going to save my stun for after I have a defense breakup. Since we have two supporters on our team and a tank, we have a pretty fair amount of survivability. Plus, we can use this vampire buff to ensure that people on our team are able to heal themselves. Our nukers are able to heal themselves. So POPO has not put damage ignore, but even if he did, we would have been able to take it off with the multiple AoEs that we have on our team. So right now we're just stalling for time until we can get an AoE defense break using Nadine. Now that her immobility has fallen off, we can move her in for an AoE defense break, and then that will help us in turn get this nuke off. We're able to get 2 defense breaks, not quite as good as we wanted, but here we can go in for a kill shot and hopefully stun somebody. There we got 2 stuns, 2 pretty important stuns too, and our skills are up again. More shields, more speed buffs, and at this point we're getting rage skills. Our rage skills are going to be madly superior to their rage skills, because if you've seen Amy's rage skill before, you know it will absolutely interrupt anybody that takes a turn. Same with Ziv right here. I will go ahead and wait for Iron to take his turn so I can show you what I'm talking about. As he moves, Ziv uses his skill is canceled. Popo's skill is canceled. Everyone gets canceled, and they pretty much just wasted their entire rage bars. Now whenever we get Amy's rage skill, we don't even have to wait for an attack buff. We could just sit there and unload and unleash the wrath of the waifu on everybody. So that's going to make us 2 for 5 using this team versus Lakshmi POPO teams. All right, y'all, for this one, I'm going to go ahead and record my audio post-recording, because as I was doing it, a lot of things that I didn't expect to happen actually happened, which is going to be good for me to showcase to you how this team does not work every time. And in my main recording, I was just like, oh shit, oh god dang, oh wow. So instead of doing that, I'm actually just going to go through a step at a time what happened, what went wrong, and maybe you can find ways to avoid that as well with me in the future. So basically what happened is, in this first round, if you notice how far spread apart they are, even with using Nadine to push back Chapman a little bit, I'm still only in the range to get 4 of the units inside of Ziv's third skill. So I'm actually not going to be able to get everybody within range of Amy's third skill as well. Plus, whenever Lakshmi uses her damage share, I will be missing out on 1/5 of my total damage. Not only that, I lost the chance to stun POPO, I lost the chance to confuse POPO, I lost the chance to defense break him, or just do pretty much anything I need to do to him because he's not in the range. So as you can see, whenever the units are very spread out, it does make this a lot more of a challenge. So even if you'll see how close I was here, because I was sitting pretty and I thought I actually had it in the bag, but as you'll see, I get it down to like a 4v5, and then I'm pretty much about to wipe them. But see right here, then actually Counterattack is going to take his turns. He's going to end up using his rage skill before I reacted to use Amy's rage skill, so I could not interrupt him. They're getting off heals that it's able to heal them up more. If POPO was in that range, Counterattack would have actually died from the damage share. So that's a big loss here. I'll go ahead and speed up the rest of the video so that I could get to what happened in the next one, because I was feeling brave and I went after this team twice. So I'll show you what happened there. out for a second time. My Nadine was the very last person I wanted to be expelled because I need her for my defense break. It's okay, we're able to still take out all the threats. Now, by the time we make Christopher the last unit, he's going to be it's not going to be a problem, whatever unit he revives. Here we have our AoE defense break back. Super simple, just go ahead and knock him out, put the attack buff on her, and then we can even interrupt him in the middle of our match, and that's going to be it. So 4 out of 5. That one guy gave us a lot of trouble. So what we have to take away from this is if it's a Lakshmi team and they're very grouped up, here we go again. 4 out of 5 of them Lakshmi. Y'all want to go again? Anyways, if they're going to be very grouped up, or if there's only one unit super out of range, you can kind of push them in with Nadine and group them up and try and take advantage of your debuffs. A big drawback I have right now is I actually do not have a lot of effect accuracy on my units because I've replaced it with more defensive, more speedy equipment. So this could entirely be effect accuracy to make her land defense break a lot more, be very helpful. This could entirely be effect accuracy to make sure everyone gets the speed buff every time. That would be more helpful as well. So let me go ahead and show you what runes and equipment I have on them now. So my Nadine sitting at a pretty 3k attack, 3k defense, 20k HP, 1200 speed. Oh, sorry. I'll go ahead and select her equipment. You can pause on any equipment you want to see. Attack speed gloves so that she can get defense break off faster. HP so she takes less damage. And defense so she takes less damage with a lot of speed substats. Now Josephine, she's on just pretty much my fastest runes possible. I want her to take the very first turn every time, so I have her on attack speed gloves. Pin rate just because it has 135 attack speed, and then of course HP, but this also has a lot of attack speed. I also have on her the speed supplement rage card to increase her attack bar by 150 when the battle begins. If you wanted to see Nadine's, it increases her accuracy by 20% whenever she's not defense broken, just to let her have a little bit more chance to defense break without worrying about putting that into my equipment. Bannon is a mutt right now. I'm pretty much just having him on the speed I need him to have while putting some damaging equipment on him. I think I have him on crit rate and then flat attack just because it has 105 speed, and he's still able to push out a pretty good amount of damage whenever he crits. If we saw, he saved me a few times. For Amy, I pretty much just have her on whatever she can get to get 85% crit rate. I think I have her on 85% crit rate, 87% crit rate even. And she is definitely on speed, crit damage, and attack. So she actually is on speed gloves. I thought that she was on attack percent gloves. So if you can get a lot of speed in subs or a dash set, you can replace those gloves with attack percent, and then you will be doing much more damage. If you wanted to see my total stats on these units, I'll go ahead and show you this here as well. She just has a lot of speed, pretty much is her thing. Bannon, his stats, mostly focused on speed as an attack support. And then this rage card needs to be promoted, but it recovers his HP whenever he gets a turn. If you saw that time where I needed to put an attack buff on my teammate and he didn't have enough HP to do so, if this was upgraded, it would have recovered his HP by 7% instead of 3%, and he may have been able to get that off. Amy is using the speed signal, increases the attack bar of all allies by 100 when the battle begins. That's a no-brainer. Instant 1/10 of the attack bar increased to everybody before speed is even calculated. And then for Ziv, I have no exclusive equipment for him, so that's embarrassing, but yeah, I'll get that one day. Rage card for him is going to increase the supporter's attack speed by 10% when the battle begins. So yeah, basically everything is all based around my Josephine getting the speed buff out so that everybody can take a bunch of turns, and then having a good setup with crowd control. Now, of course, he's on attack speed, crit rate because he decreases the attack bar when he crits, and then effect accuracy to help confuse more often. And that's how I'm able to pretty much, it was only 4 wins out of 5, but that team was pretty intense that we were going against. I feel like that guy also was pretty lucky with how, you know, Chapman got confused and stunned, and then just stuff wasn't really working out for us because we didn't have effect accuracy. But that's pretty much it. If you're super struggling with like all these Lakshmi teams and you just absolutely can't beat a Lakshmi, and every time you see her you skip the fight, you're going to be skipping 99 out of 100 fights because everyone has her. So if you take you know, a little bit of time to grind, and then you end up getting Ziv, and then you have your Amy, you can build your Amy, complete the story to get your Nadine. You start with Josephine, and Bannon is only 1,200 diamonds. So that will get you the team that I can use. And this team is also very helpful for most areas in the game. But that's going to do it for me, y'all. I'll see y'all later. Bye.